Hey, Mama, guess what? It's Thursday. That means it's time for our weekly dose of NASCAR.
I'm excited. We're going to South Beach, Miami, baby. It's going to be hot and spicy.
You can take a little salsa?
Yeah.
All right, you handle that. I'll handle the headlines. Take a look at this. First up, we got Joey Logano. He went from the outside to the inside with a win last week at Las Vegas. So the 22 is the first driver moving on to the championship 4. Las Vegas was not a winner for a bunch of playoff drivers, including 2 former champions. We're going to break down what went into the big one last Sunday. And with 2 races left to make the championship 4, NASCAR heads south to Miami. Keep your eye on the high side. It is time for NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. Mamba with the blue steel. Can we get a little another one of those like looks, Mamba, before we get this show started?
Come on,
right
give
Just
us
like
a little
look
something.
into the camera. Give us a little, love.
What was that? That move. There you go.
Look.
Yeah. Love that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. I'm Shannon Spake. He is the man with all of the moves and the looks, Mamba Smith.
Hey.
That would be you right there.
Thanks.
Yeah. We'll teach you that later. Daytona 500 winning crew chief Steve Letarte, driver of the number 48 Xfinity Series car Parker Kligerman. And listen, okay, so Joey Logano in 2018, he used to say it was the big 3 and me. Well, now look at who's going for big 3. That would be Joey Logano.
He is, but I think there's a lot of people that maybe felt like he sort of lucked into this a little bit. There was a fuel mileage win. Obviously, getting into the round of 8 was big and how he got in. But you know what? When it mattered, that team and him rose up, found a way into the championship 4, and I think that's what the way these playoffs are. It rewards rising up in big moments, and that's what Joey Logano and the 22 team did.
Is it lucky or good to go 69 laps on fuel?
So if anyone thinks it's lucky, then they've obviously never raced. I mean, it's more
I didn't say
than
it was
just
my comment.
social media. I'm assigning it to you. Look, there's no pictures on the scorecard in golf. There's no details to the trophies in the trophy case in racing. How'd you get them? How'd you get there? Sometimes it's speeds, restarts, 3 wide. Well, sometimes it's strategy. I'm a big fan of strategy. Paul Wolfe, obviously, Joey's crew chief, called a great race, and Joey executed. There were chances to mess it up, but they figured it out.
Joey Logano behind the wheel is probably one of the most ruthless athletes on the planet. He's an animal, just a dog, and he finds a way to get it done. And you do not want him in the Final 4, and they let the guy that you really don't want in, and now they got to deal with that.
We had guys like Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart who were so great between the ears when it came to this time of the year. And I feel like Joey Logano is one of the best. We're going to get to that in a second. But first, let's see who won big and who was a bust. And I mean, listen, I had to do it. That was just a natural lead-in, right?
We had dice last week. We just played it all.
I mean, we're just going all in.
Spoiler, it was Steve.
I'm a little sensitive about this.
This is how the race went down.
It's Vegas. Are you feeling lucky today?
Oh, look out! Elliott's gone. Tyler Reddick barrel rolls down the front stretch.
Come back and across tracks to 6, rush to 6.
That's what broke the right rear toe link.
Destroyed.
14 seconds, cost the 11th car 8 spots on the racetrack. And then they must have had an issue on the left rear. It has just continued to go from bad to worse for the 11. There are problems at the 5 camp.
We've got a big piece of aluminum stuck in our nose, and we're going to patch the nose.
A disastrous stop.
Now they have to look at the left side again. Another big costly mistake for Kyle Larson. The guy who's led 155 laps today is fighting to lock himself in. Bell, very fast, pressured tires. The front guy stretching fuel, older tires. Blaine, he's trying to do everything he can to help his Team Penske teammate. New race leader inside the final 5 laps. And now Bell's there, but just too much to do. Too close to the line. Joey Logano wins Las Vegas. He's going to Phoenix. Can you believe the way that this round of 8 has started?
Joey Logano said he called his wife and he was like, can you believe this beep, fill in the blank. He winning at Las Vegas. He has now locked himself into the championship 4. Christopher Bell with another second place finish. William Byron 4th. Denny Hamlin 8th. So you've had 5 of those guys in the top 11. So let's remind you, Joey Logano was out of the round of 8 because he didn't make it. Then Alex Bowman gets disqualified. So now Joey Logano is back in. And he did. He said to his wife, can you believe this beep? So can you believe this?
I'm actually not shocked. I mean,
Really?
Look how we started the playoffs. No one was talking about Joey Logano. He won the first race of this entire playoffs and proved that this is why he's a 2-time champ. He's resilient. And Paul Wolfe and Joey Logano, the combination of the two, win a lot in the playoffs. Joey Logano specifically, his percentage of wins in the playoffs is really higher than about any other driver with that many wins because He is, you mentioned what he was like inside the race car, and he is an unbelievable athlete. He is just as unassuming outside of a race car, and that's why I believe he gets overlooked at times. But what they do the best is find a way. You know, everybody talks about being fast, leading laps, being great, doing all these things. This 22 car finds a way, and now they've found a way, even unorthodox, all the way into the championship 4.
They've been all year. It's like they knew they weren't great, and they knew they were lacking speed, but they didn't lack confidence. They never at one point did you think, oh, they're just never going to figure out. They never threw in the towel. They found a way in Nashville. They found a way here at Vegas. And we talked about it, like, this was the place that he had to have circled. They just run good at Vegas. They rolled the dice and got it done, and I think it's beautiful because now he's going to shake it up. We've seen how he shakes it up before if he's the first man into Phoenix.
I also think this is prototypical of Team Penske. When they got all their cars in the summer into the playoffs, they go to work on the playoffs. We saw them start the playoffs with a lot of speed, and then they find themselves again into the round of 8 with Joey Logano. It's like, okay, now we know what to focus on. Get this first race. Now we can focus on Phoenix. We've seen this out of them before. And let's talk about what Joey did inside that car this past weekend, because fuel mileage might sound like it's all you, Steve. Is it?
Well, the calculator is. The work's on the driver.
It's not all you, because what he's doing inside that car, especially at a place like Vegas where there's tire fall off over the run, which means then as cars are pitting, he's having to deal with traffic of faster cars going around him, but he's having to run the best laps he can while using the least amount of fuel. And what that means is lifting, being very soft on the throttle as you accelerate off the corner. It's utilizing the draft if you catch some traffic and slower cars. There's so many things that go into stretching fuel further than just you, Steve, on the box saying, hey, we can get there, you know. And it's like, yeah, I get we can get there. But how does he go and make it happen? And that's what the driver is so crucial in doing. And Joey does that. We've seen this out of them before at Nashville in the summer. They went a bajillion laps on fuel. It was insane.
They should have been done 10 laps prior.
That thought they could do it. So this is just such a skill that Joey Logano has. Paul Wolf is daring enough as a crew chief to know that he has a driver that can make these strategies work, and it comes down to executing. That's what they did so well.
But the truth, though, is I don't think it was a very aggressive strategy.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you think it was a risk?
The stage before, Daniel Suarez went 73 laps. They only had to go 72. It had already been proven that it could happen. There are times where the strategy for two cars can be very different for the same result. I thought Christopher Bell and his team, with the fastest car and the lead, called the right race, which was running halfway through the run, putting tires on and running again, and just having a faster car to overcome. And for Joey Logano and the 22 and the speed they had and where they came in with points, I think being the aggressor was necessary. So I don't think Paul Wolf, I don't think it was this crazy gamble. I think it was a calculated risk, but very calculated.
Are you surprised more people didn't try to push it?
I was shocked more didn't.
Yeah?
You know, Daniel Suarez finished inside the top 5 from running 15th.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Joey Logano won the race from barely inside the top 10. I liked Bell's call. I liked Byron's call, but I was a little frustrated that others inside the top 10 or 15, this seemed like a very easy call for the majority of the cars inside the top, say, 20 that didn't have a chance to win the race for me.
I think it's daring because we didn't see, to your point, we didn't see people do it. So that's what makes it look so daring. It's like, oh, well, he's the only one that did it. Well, that can't work out. But
and it's about the math, right? It's about the math, really, how it calculates out. And
he should have lost. The math said that Bell should have got there with 3 laps to go.
You're slowing down too much. By the end of the run, he's going to be too fast. That's basically how.
But that's the beauty of sports and racing, specifically sports now, because we hear all of these data analytics in every sport you watch, and it can be a bit over the top. Is math is making crew chiefs in NASCAR or coaches in the NFL, whatever it is, smarter. But the humans still have to perform, and that's what you talk about with Joe Logano. He executed the plan that the math made sense for.
It's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and Joes, right? Yeah,
She's got all the lines
laugh today.
Man, she's got them all.
I do. Let's take a look at the playoff standings. Joey Logano is now advanced to the championship 4 in Phoenix. We do have 2 races remaining. There you see him. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, William Byron on top of that line. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott below it. And a lot of this got jumbled up, I should say, because of a big wreck that happened between Tyler Reddick, who had just won stage 1, and then this happens during stage 2, and we have 3 playoff drivers that are involved in this, and this is really scary. Tyler Reddick goes upside down. We've got Chase Elliott and also Ryan Blaney involved in this portion as well. Parker, I want you to kind of walk me through this, because Tyler Reddick, he took the blame. He said, listen, I thought there was a hole, there wasn't a hole, and I went for it.
Right, and he basically said he was aggressive, but that's what he does so well on these mile-and-a-half tracks. And let's sort of break down why he was aggressive, why he might view it that way. Maybe he could have been, had more discretion, was a better part of valor in that sense. Basically, as you're when you're put in that position, you've got to try and make headway at the early portions of these runs. When there's cars bunched up, you can get big runs. So when he went to the outside, as we go on board here into turn stream 4, you see the 20 shoot below the 19. The 19 and the 9 are going to be side by side. And as he gets to the middle of the corner here, stop. There's the 9 and the 19 on the bottom. This is Tyler looking at them. He sees the clear track to the right? And at this point, he can start to say, okay, I've got the run, I've got the headway. The way this track condenses on the exit, you usually put yourself in a bit of position where he is right now, that they're going to kind of come up the racetrack. But he sees so much clean track, he's thinking, that's where I want to go. But out of the corner of his eye, he sees that 19 get a little closer to 9. He had a chance right there, maybe could have backed off, but at that point, he's pot committed to going around the outside of both of those. If it works, he has a monster run. He passes 2 or 3 cars. He gets the position on the track that he wants. When it doesn't work is what happened, which is the 19 slides up to the 9. They come together. That forces them out into the 45 with Tyler Reddick, and you end up flipping over down the front stretch. I think, when I looked at it first, I thought, that's not aggressive. But as I looked at that onboard and I started to see what you saw, the 19 and the 9, I know he saw that, and he referenced he saw a little bit of movement out of them. That was a moment that he could have said, I'll back out. But that's not Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, but if he backs out, what happens?
You lose 3 or 4 positions.
I don't think so. I think he hits the 9 and they wreck anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have this magical that he's running 175s and he's just going to slow down to 150 and miss the wreck. I think that there is just as much of a risk if he lifts. He gets run over from behind, catches the 9's rear bumper anyway. I mean, we're breaking this down frame by frame. These athletes are doing this in the blink of an eye. I agree. There was an opportunity to not be 3 wide top. I would rather lose going. I said this when Denny Hamlin's crazy strategy at the beginning of the playoffs when he didn't want to engage at a speedway. Let's wreck trying to win. Let's not wreck trying to ride.
Well, I mean, wrecking trying to win and wrecking that early in the race, I think, is a little bit different too. But that's how Tyler races, and that's how Kyle Larson races, and that's how the guys that are great do it. And you can't change what makes them great. But then on the flip side, people like Ryan Blaney get caught into it, and Blaney, they got put back in a bad situation. We talked about at the beginning of the playoffs, you need to qualify well. This is twice that they've had issues in practice or qualifying that set them back at the start of the race. Watkins Glen was the other one, got in a wreck there too. So
the only thing I'll just refute both of you real quick, because I think I get what you're saying. Go for take the risk. You're saying take the risk. That's who you are. But when you're in a points battle like this over 3 races to make it to
I don't think he is.
4, well, I think
he's in a winning battle.
Like but in that sense,
he just wants to win.
We're
going to have 3 winners.
I don't know. I think you still could have been. There was a moment to make the decision there. I agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, of course.
You know the best part, this disagreement?
Yeah.
It's happening in that helmet.
It's happening there too. This is a discussion that crew chiefs and drivers have had for the eternity of NASCAR. After an incident, it was like, well, you could have done this, I could have done this, and I could have done that. Yeah. I get it. I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate.
I've second-guessed too many drivers in my 10 years in the TV booth to understand that what they do is pretty heroic at the speeds in which they do it. So I would much rather have Tyler Reddick show up at Miami thinking that that's the same move he has to make again.
The part that makes that move really tough was that the 20, it was almost 4 wide. And I think if that didn't happen, they probably don't get in that.
Not to mention he flipped down the front stretch.
That part.
He did flip a little bit.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I kept remembering Christopher Bell saying, these are the 3 tracks that are more traditional, that we can control our own destiny. We feel safe going to these. And then we go there, and this happens to a bunch of playoff drivers. Very interesting. Speaking of Christopher Bell, he had another second-place finish, but he was absolutely not thrilled after starting from the pole. He had such a fast race car. We're going to break down his day coming up.
Get that dog in him.
Bell comes up 0.6 of 1 second short.
That sucks, buddy. That sucks real bad, but it wasn't meant to be. We did all we could do.
Did everything we needed to put this ream camera in victory lane, and unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be today.
Wow, where was that Christopher Bell last week when he was in studio? Okay, after qualifying on the pole, finishing second in stage 1, winning stage 2, and having an average position of 2.5, he finishes second, which normally you would think, hey, second is really, really good, but no, Christopher Bell wanted to win this race. He wanted to lock himself in to the championship 4, and you heard the frustration. How do you get past that? That was a lot of anger.
I hope he doesn't get past it.
God.
No. Use it. use it. Use that energy and fuel that fire, because that's what your crew guys are going to feed off of. We got a dog. This guy's going to do whatever it takes to win. We should have won. We feel like we were slighted, and we didn't get it here at Vegas. We're going to get it at Homestead. As a matter of fact, we're going to get it at Martinsville and Phoenix. We're just going to win it all the way out.
All right, driver, crew chief, do you guys agree?
That's tough. I mean, I think to your point a little bit, you know, when I look at that, that's a really tough thing to get over. But you can then, when things quiet down, you look back at the week, you go, wow, what a performance, right? And like that's where what you could control, you put it together. You went out there and excelled in every part of that race. An average running position of 2.5 is insane. 155 laps led. I mean, just an absolutely dominant day. And you got beat on a strategy call. That's, you know, that is racing. I think it is tough to get over. It is tough in this format because, as he alluded to in his post-race, you're not safe. Like, even if you have a major points advantage, just the way this format is, that was a way to lock in and be focused on Phoenix. And that's what I think a lot of the frustration comes from. Yes, it's a race loss, that sort of thing. He's run really well there before. But the fact is, the stakes were so high in that moment, and they did everything. They brought such great performance, but still couldn't get it done. And I just think it hurts internally for sure. But you can rely on the performance, to your point, to kind of fuel you.
I think Adam Stevens will make sure that the team knows the frustration is Christopher at the result, not Christopher at the team or the call or the strategy.
For sure.
That would be the only concern, is that that fire over the radio, which I'm with Mamba, I actually like. I think that's the type of driver you have to have. I just want to make sure it's not misconstrued. Remember, it takes an entire army of people to put these cars on the racetrack. So even the ones back at the shop or whoever's involved, I would just make sure they all know, hey, he's just mad that we, the group, deserved to win and we didn't. Not that somebody in the group let somebody else down.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, too, definitely. And I remember him sitting right there last week saying that the one Achilles heel that he has in this round is long runs at Homestead. So I'm sure he didn't even want to have to worry about it when he was going to Homestead. And now it's something that he'll definitely be thinking about. We are also thinking about Kyle Larson, because what a day it was for this team. They had aluminum in the nose. I wanted Lee to say, I did. I wanted him to say it so bad. They had a lot. They didn't stay on the lead lap. They had slow pit stops. And so when you look at what happened with Kyle Larson, I mean, listen, we know that he can do what he needs to do to win a championship. This team is built to handle adversity.
They really are, and we've seen this out of them continually in these playoffs, to overcome adversity and to use the one thing that they have that seems to not go away, and that is speed. When they have a fast car, the way he was able to drive back to the field, and I know I sound like a broken record if you watch the show last.
Oh, do you like Kyle Larson?
You know, I think highly of him a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, just a tad. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is so impressive in the way they are able to create speed in a variety of situations, a variety of tracks, and when put in the position they were, where after having the pit stop issues, he has to come back to the field, he does it so seamlessly. And it's really just an advantage that, and Steve, you know this, when you have a fast car, it opens up the playbook. It opens up what you're able to do, and for the driver, it just allows you to not get frustrated, to be put in bad positions, and you're able to recover from a day like that. And that's just the advantage they have, and that's why, you know, I think going into this playoffs, and as we go through this playoffs, continually they look like the favorite because they have the speed, and even if there's mistakes, they overcome them in ways that other teams don't.
All I'll say is we talk a lot about momentum when someone wins. Rarely do we talk about momentum when someone messes up. Well, that happens also.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, you're in quicksand. The harder you try, the more you sink. We haven't seen that out of the 5 that bounced back in both rounds and won the final race of the first and the second round. But what if? What if? Right. What if he runs into the back of somebody coming to pit road again at Miami? What if he goes to Martinsville and has some issues, right? You know, it's great to have speed, but should we not have? Let's not try to depend on it. Let's try to execute.
But I feel like with Kyle Larson, like he goes out and dominates Bristol, then he has his issue at Kansas, then he wins, and then he has a problem. Yep. It's been like this all season long, so I feel like they almost have the faith that they know, even though this happened, as you mentioned, whether it's speed, whether it's a team, whether it's a driver, crew chief, they know that they have the ability to get back up there.
You know what they got? They got one of the best motivators in sports in Cliff Daniels. Cliff. On top of that box, like, it doesn't matter what's going wrong. Now, this weekend, we saw a little bit of that emotion, and you can see the frustration in his face. But he keeps them even-keeled. He keeps Kyle's head on straight so he can just do his job and focus on what he needs to do. And he always has a plan. No matter what is going wrong, he always like, hey, it's okay. This is where we're at. This is what happened. This is what we're going to do. Kyle's like, okay. Oof. and this makes it happen. It's
He's an
insane.
incredible operator, and they have such great processes in that team. And he'll harp on, anytime you talk to him, he'll talk about process. And even when things are going wrong, there's a process to get out of it. And you can hear that in the way he talks and how he talks to the team and sort of formulates the plans and that sort of thing. To your point, I think he is one of the best operators on pit road.
If that word process sounds familiar, it's because Cliff Daniels does read a lot of, like, Nick Saban books. And he reads a lot of books about NFL coaches.
Retired coaches on TV? Sorry, that was too soon. Too soon? No.
Oh, boy. Okay. Too soon. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin, right? Because I don't even know what's going on
where's
here.
the process here?
Well, the process has completely gone away. So first, let's look at Denny Hamlin. As you saw the lit up area right there, that's how far short Denny Hamlin was from his mark. And then the pit crew didn't have it. It was anything but smooth in the playoffs. It was a complete disaster on pit road for the 11 as well. They had to come in. They had to tighten wheels. It was an entire mess. Now, what I loved is there was a radio conversation about this. And to your point about Cliff Daniels, I think that Gabe Hart on top of the pit box for the 11 team has the same sort of leadership where he says, Denny, I need you to hit the sign, and we have to do better. Now, look, if he'd have been 6 feet or 7 feet further up into the pit box, would it have helped? Yes. It is still inexcusable to have wheels loose wherever the driver stops, right? That's a mistake you just can't make. But it was a great opportunity for Gabe Hart to say, back to the frustration of Bell or the motivation of keeping everyone connected. Everyone here is falling short. The driver, not on the mark. The pit crew, not making changes. Me, being Chris Gabehart, not calling the best race, having some decisions early that didn't work out. I love the fact that he spread the blame, and I think he almost took the pressure off the pit stop because this poor tire changer or Jackman, who made a human mistake, has been hoping since January for the chance to make a difference in the playoffs. Yeah. This is not the difference they were hoping to make. They were thinking the other side of it.
I think with Gabehart, they're in opposite situations because Kyle's, like, his mentality and everything, he seems very locked in and very relaxed in what he's doing. Denny seems not locked in, and he's kind of said it himself that he's not mentally there. And so Chris is having to operate in a different way. So he has to, all right, here, we're all on the same team. Remember this. Stay with me here. You are coming up short. Right. We're coming up short. To your point, I'm coming up short. We're all coming up short. Now, what are we going to do about it as a group to get back in front? And, you know, it just seems like they're able to find it when they really need it, but it's a dangerous time to be playing these games going into it, Parker.
It's a dangerous time to be sloppy. And I think that's the description for the playoffs of the 11 team is just it's been sloppy. There's been mistakes. They've had one clean race. That was Bristol. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous that this team, which is, I think, so highly of Chris Gabehart, Denny Hamlin's one of the best drivers, maybe of all time, without a championship. And I think that, you know, you look at how this playoffs has gone, and it's just continual things that add up, that compound, that put them in bad positions that then get worse and so on and so forth. It's just got to clean up, right? But on the flip side, to be positive for a second, they could fix this all, by the way.
My question is, how many championships would Denny Hamlin have if it wasn't for mistakes? Because I feel like that has been the thing every time we go to that final race.
I wouldn't sit here if I could get rid of this. I'm not really sure that's
I have plenty of trophies without any mistakes.
But can we
But I mean, that's been what they deal with all the time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The 11 team has brought their worst, and they're still here.
That's
okay.
It's a scary situation if they do fix it. It's a big if, but at least they have some upside. They're not running at their 100. You know, at the beginning of the playoffs, there were teams that were running at their absolute best and barely keeping up in the rounds. The 11 car is running at nearly their worst, yet they continue to advance.
And with this format, there's only one thing you have to do, and that Joe Logano, the 22 team, just proved it this past weekend. That is rise up when the moment presents itself. This coming weekend, I could see the 11 team doing just that. They only got to do it once, and then they got a chance to championship.
It's the driver. The driver has to rise up.
All right, rise up. Like 8 championships you would have without mistakes?
They all do.
Maybe we would all have them. Hey, we got a special guest joining us in studio. Since we're going to Miami, I mean, this is... Can we guess who this is?
I thought those were Parker's.
No, those are fancy shoes. Maybe is those Mamba shoes? We'll be right back.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I just don't.
Joey Logano is the last into the round of 8. Joey Logano wins Las Vegas. He's going to Phoenix.
we're in a good situation right now. We just locked ourselves in, and we're thinking about Phoenix before everybody else. So we went from the underdog to the favorites. We just got to take advantage of that opportunity of being able to think of Phoenix before everybody else.
Joey Logano is the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
It's a moment that you dream of. Once you have achieved it once, it's all you think about wanting to do it again. And whether that's winning the race or winning your way into the championship 4 and having the opportunity to win another one, or the feeling of what it is to cross the line in Phoenix as a champion, there's nothing that can even compare. There's nothing even close to that feeling, and that's your motivation. That's what you want to do, and I'm so excited we got an opportunity. Job's not done.
Somebody needs to get Chad Knaus on the phone and find out if that 22 team has the golden horseshoe in their hauler, because they are just firing all. Look at this. He's made the championship for every even year of the current playoff format. He is a 2-time champion, 11 playoff appearances, and 14 playoff wins. We are seeing history being made right now by Joey Logano. Now he has an opportunity to go for 3 championships a little bit later at Phoenix. We said we were going to have a special guest, didn't we? Yes. Let's show you who that is. Why don't we start with the shoes, and listen to this music. Wow. We're going to Miami, so we wear the shoes. Who's our special guest? Jordan Bianchi. Sorry. I mean, not sorry, guys, but we sold it pretty good. Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic. Awesome to see you here today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're liking the shoes. These are fancy.
Quite a downgrade from Pitbull, I understand.
Well, we never said Pitbull, but Dale. Maybe we should. Maybe you could let Mamba borrow those shoes.
I mean, listen, I can give you some fashion tips.
That was disrespectful.
But truthful.
What?
You guys both had the pocket
squares. Look, we do both have pocket squares, and me and Parker both did not dress for Miami. Maybe for the nighttime.
It's fall up here.
Yeah. I'm dressed for Miami. Got a little white on. Anyways, Joey Logano, right? We've mentioned that the other 2 times that he's won his championship, he has won the very first race to lock himself in. So do you change anything? Do you just stick to the formula for the next 2 weeks?
No, I mean, their formula is clear-cut, and it's already started in their meetings this week. They had meetings, debriefing from Las Vegas and kind of preparing for Homestead, and it was like, no, we're good, basically. We're going to focus to Phoenix and their simulator time over the next few weeks. They're not going to, basically ignore Martinsville or Homestead, but their attention largely is all going to be on getting better and finding the little things that make them the difference between winning or losing at Phoenix. And that is the difference. And it's such a huge advantage. And it's why 4 times in the past 8 years, the guy who's won the first race in this round has gone on to win the championship. You give smart crew chiefs 2-week advantage and a head start, oh, good luck.
What are some of the things that they can work on, Parker?
Well, he mentioned simulator. They can focus on the setup. They can focus on sort of the strategies that can unfold there at Phoenix. And we've seen this out of them before. And Paul Wolf, you mentioned smart crew chief. This is like his modus operandi. When he has
I have no idea what that means.
What was that?
Basically like plan of attack. Yeah, plan of attack. The way you do things. When he has the opportunity, sorry, you made me just pull up the dictionary for a second.
That's that Connecticut education, because I'm South Florida. I'm like, what?
Wow. Anyway, I can't remember what I was saying.
I knew what you meant.
Nonetheless, I was going to go somewhere with this that was important. This is what they do so well, and we've seen this out of them before. And I've actually, I was a part of I was a test driver on the 2 car when Paul Wolf won his first championship back in 2012 with Brad, and I got to see their process and how they work, and I've worked with Team Penske. And I mentioned early in the show that Team Penske, when they got their cars in the playoffs, then started to focus on the playoffs, and sure enough, they showed up with a bunch of speed. So we've seen this out of them, where if they can have this ability to sort of focus ahead of everyone, put some effort there, find the little things and work on those cars and really harness that focus and ability to focus on the car, they show up with a lot of speed. So this makes it really, really tough for the other teams because you've given them this huge advantage.
And some of these teams are already in a position where it's very tough for them, and those are the guys that are below the cut line. You look at the standings right here. I mean, 27-30, 47-53. I would say that a handful of these guys are kind of in a must-win at this point.
Easily 3 of those guys, Reddick, Blaney, and Elliott, are in must-wins. I can make a case, 27 points, Hamlin's back. I could say the next 2 weeks at these tracks, he could make up that deficit. The problem is he's going to need someone above him to have a problem. He's going to have someone, have a tire issue or a motor failure or a crash or something of that sort. So Hamlin needs outside help. I think he could point his way in. You could say, well, Reddick's only 30 back. To me, I look at the schedule, though. Reddick is not good at Martinsville, whereas Hamlin, these next 2 weeks, is lights out at these tracks. Reddick is in a bad spot, and then Elliott and Blaney, it's win or go home.
So Denny said on his podcast, basically, we got to be top 3 in all the stages and have some help. Got to agree with that, but I do believe this coming weekend is an opportunity for them at Miami.
Absolutely.
Kind of sold that earlier earlier in the show, I do think that this team, if they can put all together, can rise up there and get that win, which is not good news for Reddick, for Blaney, for Chase Elliott, who, when you look at these next two tracks, especially at Homestead, this is a speed track. There's not going to be a lot of opportunities to flip strategies. This is a place you have to take 4 tires. You really just have to have the speed, and therefore it makes it incredibly tough to sort of, find a way or find a different way into getting ahead of cars that might be faster than you. So I do believe they are in must-win positions. Blaney, Reddick, Chase Elliott. Yep. For Blaney and Chase, you got Martinsville, which has a new tire, so that could open up a possibility. Yeah. But Reddick has to be looking.
But Hamlin hasn't had speed, though. That's the problem, though. Hamlin didn't have speed at Las Vegas. That, to me, is alarming.
That's a problem.
And that's concerning.
But they can figure it out.
They haven't had speed in the whole playoffs. And so you guys, they haven't. They've been hit or miss, and, I hear you. I don't know about that, but I'm going to tell you why some other guys below the cut line here are going to have a shot at. So
he's ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm fired up. So, all right, we got Christopher Bell right here, right? Top 5. This is since 2020 at Miami. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 114 points scored. 32% of the time, he's in the top 10. Now, you flip to this. 3 top 5s for a mystery driver, 3 top 10s, 136 points scored, and 62% run in the top 10.
Just based on, am I supposed to guess who? Are we supposed to guess who it is?
If you want to.
I'm just based on the picture.
Oh, you think it's Hamlin?
I'd say Ryan Blaney.
You think it's Blaney?
Yeah.
Okay, you're all wrong. Let's see it. Show me what we got. We got Mr. Tyler Reddick.
Wow.
Oh, he's great. Right here.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. That makes more sense now. The 62.3.
See, I wasn't even looking at the stats. I was just looking at the silhouette. I was like, which driver could that be?
What he doesn't have there, though, is a win, and he has to win.
Yeah, but, you're 3 points difference between him and Hamlin. You just told me that Hamlin can make it. So hang on. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Martinsville. All right, so Martinsville, since 2020. All right,
okay.
Joey Logano.
Joey, yes.
He doesn't have a win, but 5 top 5, super strong. 377 laps led, 355 points scored. That's huge. Who do we think this silhouette is?
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney.
You actually got that one. Ryan Blaney.
Look at us.
Listen, and that's more. I understand why you would know that, because the one win really helps.
Yeah.
And he's strong there week in and week out.
He should have more wins there too, by the way. He's throwing away a lot of races there. People don't realize how great Ryan Blaney is at Martinsville.
And that's why I think that he'll be able to make it in there if he needs to. Now, if you combine the two, we're now looking at Miami and Martinsville together, because we have 2 races to go. So you look at it. The combined, you got William Byron here, 468 laps led, 9.5 average finish, 486 points scored, and 1 stage win. And then if you look at the driver to his right, those numbers are quite a bit better.
Is it wrong that I'm looking at the silhouette?
I'm on the silhouette. And I was going to say, also by the
keep doing the silhouette.
Elimination, I'm going to say Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott?
Yeah, I guess.
Chase Elliott.
I think they didn't know, and they're going off of you. Mark is right. It's Chase Elliott.
I knew the whole time.
So listen, here's my point. My point is that even though these guys are out, they run strong enough to put themselves in a situation to win. And I could see Ryan Blaney winning Miami. I could see Chase winning at Martinsville. And that's why we're selling hope.
What was this?
Nice bit of hope, for
What
sure.
was that phrase you used? I need to write this down.
Modus operandi?
I don't even know how to spell that.
Everyone has a nice plan.
We'll be a
and that's
test a
modus
little bit
operandi.
later.
It's a nice bit of hope, but you kind of pointed out the one problem, which is they most likely have to win one of these races.
You just got to be there.
They have no safety net. That's the problem.
There is no other option. And I could see the possibility at Martinsville with strategy, knowing a new tire, that sort of thing. But Homestead, you're just going to have to be fast.
Speaking of wins, let's give a congratulations to Bobby Allison, who is officially the winner of the 1971 race at Bowman Gray. 53 years later, take a look at that. There's your trophy. So Bobby Allison now officially has 85 wins, even though in his Hall of Fame speech he said, I have 85 wins. He is now sole possession of 4th on the all-time win list. It's a great story. If you don't know the story of how there wasn't a winner in that race, take a look on YouTube. They're all over the place. It's pretty cool. I watched it last night.
If you thought Logano was the most recent upset winner, no, actually, we got Bobby Allison.
There you go. Thank you for being here with your shoes. We'll see you later. Have fun in Miami if that's where you're going. Bye. We'll be right back.
Get out of here, Jordan.
I was saying goodbye to everybody. Welcome to Miami. Yeah, baby, sun and fun, fast cars. It is a NASCAR weekend down in South Florida. Take a look at that. That's where I want to be right there. Toes in the sand.
That's at the racetrack.
It is?
Yeah, that's the beach at the racetrack.
Oh, I haven't been there in a very long time.
Awesome.
This is where Steve Letart's going to be all weekend long. You got practice Saturday, 9 a.m. on NBC, qualifying 10 a.m. And then, of course, we got the Cup race starting at 2:30. I'm glad it's an early start again. This past weekend was an early start as well.
I like early starts.
Nice.
Steve, is 9 a.m. okay with you after you have your night out on South Beach?
9 a.m. Yeah, I'll be
You'll
up
be able to roll in there.
I'll be up 5 hours by then, so I'll be up for it.
Hey, where do we go? We still go to Jack Joe's Stone Crabs. Like, I love Miami.
So I don't venture out in Miami.
Nowhere.
I know it's hard to believe, but when you're a crew chief, I didn't leave the track. So
Okay,
they had a beach
let me start this again.
She didn't know this.
Yeah. Right in the bus lot.
Let me start this again. Miami is so awesome. Where do we go in Miami?
We love to go to South Beach, of course, yeah. And then obviously the beach right in the middle of the track. But no,
it's hard to believe. I'm a racetrack guy.
And even if you don't venture away from the track, the best part about this place is that it always is late. For years it was the final race, and so the races would get cold. The weather's getting cold in North Carolina and wherever. And
Colder in Florida,
and then you get there and it's like warm, sunny. It's the best place. The vibes are great. You got the palm trees lining the track. It always has the beautiful sunsets and the photos of the cars going down the backstretch. I love this place.
The walls are like Art Deco color, right? It's that seafoam green.
It is.
You're like, just
Great
know you're
place.
in Miami.
Well, the good thing about Miami, as I said at the top of the show, it's a lot like Las Vegas, Phoenix, where we crown the champion. They're big event cities. Super Bowls are held there. Championship-style races have been held there, so it has that feel that it's all coming to an end.
You can't not be happy when you go to Miami. The sun and just the environment, everyone's like, oh, yeah, this is kind of nice. This is a nice place to go race. Maybe we should come here twice a year. I don't know. But I love it, and the food is great. There's clubs, there's nightlife. What's not there? Like?
There's so
many.
I'll take you to one.
There's so
live on Sunday?
Yeah, that sounds like a great time.
There's so many great things that come out of South Florida. Anyways, let's move on to the last four winners at Miami. Yeah, just slid it in there. These are the guys who were victorious. You got Denny Hamlin 2020, William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell. All right, we just talked about running the high line. You hear it all the time when we go to Miami. Take me around the racetrack for a lap, Parker.
Right, so obviously this place is talks about where you have to be on the wall. What does that mean? It means you run directly on the wall because the way the tires wear here and the way the track sort of evolves, you end up next to the wall because of aero reasons, and there's just added grip because there's not as much rubber up there. So we have a lap here. I want to take you on board with Kyle Larson, one of the best in the world at doing it. And what does he focus on here? Look how close he is to the wall. So that is about an inch. And what really is crazy is you actually, I think he touched a little bit. You lose the difference between your fender and the wall. So how do you tell how close you are? Well, what you are doing is you're listening to the exhaust as it reverberates off the wall. You're also feeling almost like an air cushion. Think of a pillow against that wall that the car is leaning up against.
That's crazy to me.
That's what you're feeling and understanding how close you are. And you have to do this, whereas the tires are wearing. You have to back up your entry speed because you're dealing with a game of inches, maybe just an inch. 1 inch too far of rolling too much speed on that top side, you will hit that wall, and you can only get away with it a couple times. You don't want to do it too many. Last year in the Xfinity race, I did it one too many, had to pit and get a tire change, but it's one of the most gratifying feelings as a race car driver when you're doing that and it's working. It almost feels like a cheat code at times, and it's just an amazing thing as it clicks together, but you're dealing with such small margins when you're doing that, and one of the best in the world is Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick's really good, and what you notice from them is that they have a way to do it continually, but never get over and overstep too much. And that's just what they're dealing with, just the smallest of margins.
If you ask a lot of guys in the garage, Kyle Larson redefined the top line when he showed up in the Cup Series. When he showed up there, he was further than anyone had ever dared go before. And the old car, if you bounce off the wall, Steve, like 3 times, you're in trouble. This one is a little more durable, and you can kind of use it a little bit more, and they do, because after 5 laps, there's already marks down the side of it, so this car really helps him.
So it's interesting, because I talked to Kyle Larson's crew chief, Cliff Daniels, this week, and I asked him about running that high line, because every time you go there, you're like, Kyle Larson's going to be up there, and he said Kyle actually prefers to move around. He's really good up there, so the challenge for the crew chief is to get the car good everywhere, and that is the challenge,
Well,
right?
so I think the misconception of Miami that it's a driver's racetrack, so I disagrry. I actually think it's a total combination racetrack.
Sit down, boy.
I actually believe that.
Get up with your big words.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose it over here.
Big word Parker has to say.
We got 3+ seconds of fall off at times, and it's a crew chief's track.
The better cars have less fall off. I really believe it. I think that Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, they are better than others there. So but the driver matters everywhere. That's like saying that Martinsville's not a driver's racetrack. They're all driver's racetracks. The humans dominate the sport. for it. They are the most important thing. But I don't care how good Kyle Larson is. If he's driving a car that shouldn't keep up, it's not going to keep up.
Right.
He's going to make it faster maybe than the driver that's in it, but bad, a little bit faster, is still not great. It's just okay bad. So you have to have it all, and that's where I think, and the other thing for Miami, we talk about pit crews at Las Vegas. Well, when the caution comes out at Miami, if you have tires, you're putting them on. 3 seconds of fall off, the tires go away. So there's not a lot of fluff. There's nowhere to hide. It's a toe-to-toe punching match. Every time you come down pit road, it's 4 tires against 4 tires. And every lap you run, it's driver against driver. Who can run the best against the wall? But don't overlook the car.
I'm going to give you a little credit on the car because we talk about everyone running on the wall. Then if you have to pass, you got to run somewhere else.
Right.
That takes a really good car.
Because so many people want to be up on that wall. Let's look back at some memorable moments at Miami. For a long time, this was where we crowned a champion. Kurt Busch.
Steve.
Wow.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'll just give you one hint who he was racing against in the championship.
Look
It
at
would
that.
be 24 out of the tire carrier. I really needed that tire to bounce down pit road.
Well, that was a long time ago, 20 years ago. 2011, Tony Stewart, remember this?
Yeah.
This is actually where
incredible.
he tied Carl Edwards for the championship, but because he had a better finish somewhere throughout the season, he was able, and this was the one where guys just moved over from.
Well, the drive to the field.
Yeah,
amazing.
just totally.
They had speed that whole playoffs. It was unbelievable.
And it changed the playoff format forever.
You remember this one, Mamba?
Yeah. Oh, 2014. Let's go. Oh, man. Look at the way that
Yes.
up there. Yeah, that was a good one. That's where that ring came from.
Jimmy Johnson. I mean, this is a familiar sight, right? Jimmy Johnson winning his 7th championship.
Yeah, amazing. I was
Wow.
actually in the booth for this call, and it was a moment I don't think any of us ever thought we were going to see. To see Jimmy raise that trophy was cool.
Yeah.
Not with the playoffs, especially. To go for 7 championships of all the different formats and everything that's happened. I mean, it's just incredible. The reason a lot of us call him the GOAT.
That's right. Well, yes, he is. And for a long time, Jimmy was the champion every year. It just felt like he won. But let's look back at maybe a little celebration from that 2014 Do we have a little? Wait,
who's
there
that?
you are.
Oh, look at that guy.
What were you doing on the team back then, Mamba?
I was on vacation. I was just there to celebrate a win. I was the teardown mechanic back at the shop. So when the cars come back, you got to flip them around. That car was very special. It won a lot of races, and we won the championship with it. So
You got a ring?
I got a ring.
You do?
Had I known that we were going to be, I would have been showing it off maybe for the last episode.
Yeah, bring it because you are a champion.
I am a NASCAR Cup Series
I
champion.
love it.
There you go. Well,
awesome.
I mean, well,
Congrats.
congratulations, Mamba. We got winners, we got
Overlooking you
champions, we
all
got
this
everything.
Why is it not in your little pylon?
It should be.
Who knew? We'll be right back. We got 4 drivers on the outside looking in right now. These would be those guys on the bottom of the cut line: Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott. We've already discussed that we think Denny could probably point his way in, but the other 3 guys are probably in must-win situations. And since we're going to Miami, let's play a little Miami Vice or Versa. And we've got some what is it?
Here, if I got to
costumes?
play a game, I
got
have
some costumes?
I have to get a little.
Oh, you
well,
gonna put
at least
those
be
on
able to-
top of your glasses?
Oh, I'm going to
There
tuck
you
them in
go.
just for the beach later.
Mamba, do me a favor. I want you to look at that camera and do exactly what you just did on camera.
Dang, I look good. Are you serious? Look at this man.
At least somebody's impressed.
Okay, well, do
My
I
mom
have
is.
to, Steve, if you're not going to play along, you have to play
Listen,
along.
I'm good at these games. I don't want to get distracted by the glasses.
Okay, all right. Denny Hamlin, I can't read.
Hey, what
Denny
do I say now?
Hamlin,
Hold on, I
we
wasn't
go in
listening. What are the
Vice,
rules?
Trouble, or Versa. He's going to turn it around.
Vice, you're in
We'll
trouble.
go Denny Hamlin, and we are going Parker first.
Versa. Turn it around.
Turn it around.
Gotta win.
Versa.
Vice.
Vice.
Yeah, we're in
Little
trouble.
Vice for Denny Hamlin, who's got cool glasses as well. What about Tyler Reddick? Parker.
Vice.
You're just going to keep going Vice?
No, I just did Versa.
Oh, you did? Okay.
It's your game.
I'm going to take these glasses
He
off. They're
absolutely
making me not think too.
But it's going to be tall task.
Listen, even though he dominated in the Xfinity Series at Miami and all of that, I hate to say this because it hurts my soul, but I agree with Parker.
Vice.
No, that I have to agree with Parker.
Wow. Trouble.
I'm
Vice.
going.
Trouble for Reddick.
I'm going Versa. I don't think he's gonna win, but I think he's gonna be really strong.
Okay. What about Elliott? What about?
Versa, but not at Miami.
Okay. All right. Well.
Does that work?
Well, I don't think we're doing vice versa in Martinsville. We're doing
Okay, well then
Miami.
Vice.
Okay.
The rules were not explained.
Martinsville's a different game.
The rules were not
Parker.
explained.
Versa, I think he runs well at Miami.
Okay.
Parker's trying to use that big brain and get caught.
Yeah.
I'm going with Vice. I think I'm putting my chips on the 9 for Martinsville.
Oh, okay. All right. So what about Blaney? Vice versa in Miami. Blaney.
Blaney?
These glasses are turning.
I know. I literally can't even look at you. Vice.
What are you looking at? There's nothing out there.
I'm on the I'm on the screen. I want to look at myself.
Steve, can you pull this together, please? You're the adult in the room right now.
I still don't know the rules, but I think Blaney's going to be good at
That's Versa. He's going to turn it around. Vice versa.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
he's versa. 12.
Is it vice versa or is it vice versa?
Vice versa.
Oh, okay.
But
There you
he's
go.
verse.
Ask the vocab guy.
There you go.
This is confusing.
I'm going with.
I left the
I'm going
set
with Brady.
For one
Listen.
segment, you started throwing words out.
I know. And then now I'm confused at vice or versa.
You win some, you
I don't
lose
even know what I
some.
chose.
I mean,
It can't all be
everything. Yeah, you know, we tried. We try to keep it good. Are we doing some different handshakes this weekend for Miami? We got to keep it fresh.
No, everyone has their locked-in handshake for the year.
We worked on a handshake. Can we stand up?
oh,
We
yeah,
did this one. We did this one. Wow. I totally messed it up.
No one would have known that if they said it.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank
just
you.
run it off.
From a guy that covers races, if you don't break it down, you just bulldoze right through. Nobody knows you messed it up.
Rabble.
You know, this guy, he does the intros you have a special handshake with every driver.
Like 20.
What is ours?
Well, I don't do Saturday.
That's right.
Intros. If you came out and played on Sunday, then we'd have a handshake. It'd be something really suave because you're maybe something with like a little
tie involved.
Yeah.
I do have a question that we weren't able to ask about Miami. We had, the playoffs that we've seen so far. We've seen so many surprise winners, and what I've heard from all of you guys is it takes a lot of skill to run that line. It takes crew chiefs that can set the car up wherever. Do we think we might get a surprise winner at Miami, or is this just a track that doesn't set up for that kind of?
I think the round. I have playoff drivers winning every race in the round, so I don't have a surprise winner. Now, it depends. Do you think Chase Elliott's a surprise? It wouldn't be to me, but I do believe a playoff driver wins once again. We saw Logano last week. I think it's another playoff driver this week.
I think it's really tough, especially in this round when the pressure's on. These teams really rise up. And you're looking at Miami, which is a speed-dependent track. Well, who are the fastest cars? Most likely it's your round of 8 cars. So I just think that those are the favorites. So to your point, if an Elliott's is a upset, or per se, maybe, but I really think it comes out of your playoff drivers.
But what about a Kyle or a Martin who are still looking for wins, right?
Oh,
I mean,
you
could get one of those guys.
Those guys can be there, but honestly, for me, I think the biggest pressure is going to be on the pit crews. We've been seeing it all playoff long. If you make a mistake, and they have been almost every week, especially the playoff pit crews, so they really got to lock in for these next 2 weeks if they want to make sure they can be there at Phoenix.
It's really tough to have a serious thought with these glasses on. I won't lie, that was a bit of a tough situation.
Really?
Looking at you, I was like, I just feel.
I feel like I'm in Miami right now a little bit with you. Come on, Steve.
There's a
join
beach
the
at the
party.
track. Just come on down.
Is that where we'll find you, at the beach at the track?
I'll be at the track.
Sunbathing, like the little.
I want one of
thing.
those. Yeah, the track.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be selling you a car and all sorts of stuff out
I could do this.
Yeah.
So we got to put your glasses on for that. Thanks for being here the last 2 weeks.
Appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. Have fun in Miami. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week. We got Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson.